All right, our last set of notes, our last target, I guess you could say, for Unit 1 is our angle pairs. So we have a little graphic organizer on this page. We target 6 starts. Our first set is adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two angles that are next to each other and share a common side. What they're measured doesn't matter. What it is two angles have to be next to each other. That's all there is to it. So I call them like neighborly. So they're sharing this common side. So I'll make the common side in blue. That's it. They're just neighborly angles adjacent to each other. Angle 1 is adjacent to angle 2. Vertical angles have to do when there's two intersecting lines or segments. So let's go ahead and make two intersecting lines. Vertical angles across from each other, two angles across from each other on intersecting lines, they are always congruent. So this is the first time we're going to talk about some measurement. So these are always the same measure. So angle 1 is vertical to angle 2. They're kind of back to back. I wouldn't call them neighbors. I would call them maybe back to back. And then I would say angle A and angle B are vertical. And angle A will be the same measure because they're congruent. They're always congruent. And 1 and 2 will always be the same measure. A linear pair are two angles that are adjacent or neighbors and are supplementary. They always form a straight line. Okay? Before I talk about linear pair, it brought up supplementary. So let's just go ahead and talk about supplementary. Supplementary angles are just any two angles whose sum is 180. So if I have an angle that is 110, there is only one number that the supplementary angle could be, and that is 70. How do I know that? Because they have to add up to 180. Okay, supplementary angles add up to 180 always. And while we're here, let's talk about complementary angles. Complementary angles are any two angles adjacent or not, but as you see in the bold, their sum is always 90. So a big giveaway for complementary angles is something like this. There will be a right angle box in there, and you'll see something point out. That's a big giveaway that it's complementary. They're trying to tell you that those two angles, and I'll label them, angle 1 and angle 2, are complementary. They add up to 90 degrees. So back to linear pair, which I think is the hardest one, because basically they're supplementary angles. So this is not what you see here. This is not a linear pair. They are supplementary, but linear pair have to be adjacent and go on a straight line. So this will be an example of a linear pair. Okay, if you take a look at angle A and angle B, they are adjacent, they're neighborly, they add up to 180 because they're on a straight line. All straight lines add up to 180. What could help you is if you drew a half circle. A lot of you know that a circle measurement is 360 and a half circle is 180. Okay? So linear pair do have to add up to 180 just like the supplementary angles. All right, so let's take a look at these 6 pictures and let's see which ones qualify. Okay. Number 1, I'll give you 3 or 4 seconds to try it. What you should have put for number 1 is vertical. That is the only one that works. Some of these more than one option could work sometimes. Try number 2. Number 2 has 2 boxes you could check. Adjacent means neighborly. They are neighbors and they are complementary. If this side is a box, so is this side. And those 2 will add up to 90. Take a look at number 3. Number 3, let's check it off. Are they neighbors? Yes. You cannot be vertical and adjacent. You have to be one or the other or neither. But you cannot be both. So that does not work. They're not vertical. Are they complementary? Do you see a right angle box? They're only complementary if you see a right angle box. Are they supplementary? Can I make a half circle out of them? I can. Look at your half circle. They are supplementary. Are they a linear pair? Absolutely. They're a linear pair because they're neighbors. Linear pairs are supplementary angles that are touching and they are on a straight line. So that one was 3 checks. Try number 4. Number 4 is only one box. They are only neighbors. They're not vertical because they're adjacent. You might think that they are complementary, but they do not give you a right angle in there. So those could add up to 91 degrees. They have to give you the right angle box to qualify for complementary. Pause it and try number 5. This one is a toughie. The answer for number 5 is they are vertical from each other. Okay, they're back to back. They are also complementary. Now, why is that? Well, angle 1 and this angle, I'll call this angle A, are equal. That's what these two, if an angle have the same markings, they are equal to each other. So they also have to add up to 90 because that 90 is right next to it. So that means these are 2 angles of 45. Now angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical and have to be the same measure. That is why they are complementary, because they do happen to add up to 90 degrees. Complementary is only required. The only definition that goes in the complementary is they add up to 90. They do not have to be touching. They do not have to be adjacent or vertical. They just have to add up to 90 degrees. Number 6, they are vertical and they are supplementary. This has to be a 90-degree box. This has to be a 90-degree box. They're both 90, so that means 90 plus 90 is 180. Flip the page. We're going to do some basics. We'll do the algebra part in class together, but we're going to do the 1 through 9 basics right now. If you'd like to pause and try them, and then I'll go through this real quick, or you can just follow along with me as I go through it, because I'm going to go through it pretty fast to try not to make this video as short as possible. 112 and X are vertical, back to back. Vertical angles must be congruent. That's why X is 112. These two angles on number 2 have a 90-degree box in there. These are complementary. So 68 plus x is 90. So it would be 22. That one's done. Number 3 is a linear pair. If you can draw a half circle over them, they always add up to 180. And that's why x is 56. 124 plus 56 is 180. All right, number 4, you got all kinds of action going on, but you can do this. Y and 43 are vertical and equal. So that means Z and 43 make a half circle. So they are 180. That's why this has to be 137, because they add up to 180. Now, Z and X are vertical, and they are equal. That's why I get 137 for X. Number 5, if this is a right angle, this piece has to be right angle as well. That makes Z 18 degrees, because 72 plus 18 is 90. Okay, 72 and Y are vertical, and that makes Y 72. And X, angle that's marked X, is a linear pair with that 72. So the angle with the X in the middle of it is 108. So I love these type of things, little puzzles like that. Basically, you just start at one angle and just go. I did not have to start at Z. I could have started anywhere I wanted on that one. All right, look at number 6. 1 and 2 are vertical. What does that mean? They're equal. So I'm going to make a note of that. Angle 1 equals angle 2. They're vertical. I'm just writing a little note. If the measure of 2 is 105, find the measure of angle 1. Well, done. They're equal. There's my pen again messing up. I don't know why it's doing that. So angle 1 is 105. All right, watch number 7. A and B are complementary. I know that's 90. Let's put it right up here. If the measure of A is 42, find the measure of B. So that just means 90 minus 42. That's the math I'm doing inside my head. That's how you get angle B. Angle B is 48. 48 plus 42 is 90. P and Q are supplementary angles. Well, supplementary means I'm looking for a total of 180. More specifically, supplementary means 2 angles that add up to 180. If Q is 64, that means this has to be 116. 116 plus 64 is 180. I did that in my head real quick. Hopefully I'm right, but I'm just trying to make this video quick. 1 and 2 are a linear pair. Linear pairs are supplementary, so the math here is exactly the same. Okay, 2 angles that add up to 180. If 1 is 113, that means 1 has to be 67 to get it to 180. I'm pretty sure that's right. But I'm going to close this video because we're at 14 minutes.